in my yard once more. I know say a daytime and thunder roll, lightning a strike. Hello everyone. If you're watching the video, I see last time I have about three views. I know one of them was me, but two more views at me, at least one or two other people watching the video. Or at least people can look at it. That's nice, that's nice. Nice to see some audience, somebody listening. Maybe get to somebody. Maybe get through to somebody. And something that is said is relevant. You know, sometimes when you're speaking, you go off topic, and also the anger that you might have had, about a previous occurrence comes out within the conversation and corrupts the conversation. That actually is a natural force, and it happens in everything. In the creation of the universe, there was a point in time where everything was disrupted and had to be reordered by a certain mathematical principle. And this repeats itself in everything. That's why there is death, because as things grow, there is a force that drags it down and back and cuts it up. But by the order of the mathematical principles, things always regenerate and reoccur. So I'm not gonna stress about messing up in like a stream or a conversation. Yeah, this type of thing in real life. Never get nervous about messing up. I never try to have perfection in a straight line. One thing you always have to know is that time does not actually occur in a straight line. Time is a spiral something. It goes around in a, you ever see a snail shell? It goes around in a outward spiral in motion. So when you're looking down the road from your if you plan something, like how I'm planning to discuss this stream now, I never look too far down the end of the topic. I only look as far as my mind can project, you know, and I know that after a while it begins to curve and the topic begins to stray away from the original idea. You're never gonna have a straight, a 100% straight projection directly from the mind. I mean, you might want to plan a speech, yes, but even in writing, that takes time, and the topic always curves, it always diverts and curves. So you want to do your best to follow that curve, and that's kind of mentality I adapt to now, projecting creations such as speech and, you know, drawings and those things. Now on the screen you might see push, you might see punt, imba. Can I pronounce it? Mwaringuni. You might see San, Nzambi, Twa, Sara, Nok, Ife, Akan, Wakundu Mande, Nawa, Numikwa, Meshwesh, Tenu, Kemet, Meje, and some of them I cannot really see this. The words are a bit small. Now you might see all of these names, and well, you know this is Africa, and you know that these are the regions where African tribes adapted before any Arabian or European invasion. And this is important to know because the descendants of Africans, us Caribbean people, we are relevant here. We're supposed to come from these western sided tribes such as the Himba, the Nzambi, Twa, Nok, Ife, and Akan and Nende. And now we were captured on the western side and brought across the Atlantic, and everybody know the story. Now, as much as these are separate tribes, again, they are also interrelated and traveled about. There are traces of different, the cultures are intermixed because of travel, war, conquership, taking over. All that stuff has been going on, yes, in Africa before any Arabian or European interruption. And this is important because, you know, all of these places were kingdoms. They were not simply tribes, they were kingdoms. They were entire civilizations of civilized people who went about their daily order in an orderly manner. They were not crazy. They were not bush um, cave people. Yes, they were bush people. They were not cave people. They knew how to pan gold. Most importantly, they knew how to pan gold, all kinds of metals, all kinds of swords, shields. They traded in valuable materials, and they is to say our ancestors traded in valuable materials, which includes one of the most coveted resources, that is gold. And it's obvious to know that most of the world's mineral resources today still come from this continent. And we literally, at the riverbeds, inside of the ground, everywhere, you can walk and pick up a diamond in South Africa. That's how common it is. And these things are mined constantly nowadays by modern Europeanized companies who have established base in these regions. This is not going to last for very long, because we are awakened now and we are going to kick them out without further ado. So what we really want to do about ourselves is just become aware that when we are looking back towards where our ancestors came from, know that there is value there. There is physical, material value that can be associated with wealth and well-being in terms of financial stability, right? But you're still gonna wanna understand that it's not just a big landmass full of bush. There are active civilizations which are direct descendants of the kings and queens, which are our cousins and our distant family. They are still there. The land still belongs to them, in a sense. If they're gonna share it with us, it's a matter of us being cooperative with them and learning the ways and the culture, and not trying to go over there and be some kind of big boss and everybody, right? When you're going back to Africa, you not want to go in a demanding mood. You want to go in a mood of being of service, so that you can be welcomed and integrated, and we can continue our history there. That's my intentions whenever I raise enough, whenever I manifest enough resources to head towards that side. Now let me see. What we can touch on is the let's say the influence that these cultures themselves have has had on Western civilization. Well, it's obvious when you look around modern practices, you can see that many of the things that are practiced today, many of even science, many chemistry, many chemical processes, mathematical processes, observances that were made these many years ago, thousands, tens of thousands, twenties of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago, they actually were made by people, our ancestors residing on this particular part of the world. And these things are still drawn upon today. I can give an example for, let's say, computer science, let's say binary calculations. There exists, long before the invention of any modern computerized system, there exists a system of mathematics called IFA, and that is present in the Ife and Nok region, where is now called Nigeria. It's present among the Yoruba peoples, and so they brought and introduced this type of mathematical calculation long before, long time before any they call them, any northerner come with them with their computers and so. If you want to look into binary, you can also find the root of it in IFA. It's with the ones and twos, with 16 bits and 256 bits and that kind of thing. It already exists. And we can talk about astronomy or astrology. However, they are intermixed or differentiated. You can always find the origins of that and 1,000 other common topics that would originate in the Kush Kemet area and Medjay area, that side where is close to the Semitic regions. You can find that this sort of stuff exists many years before any Plato or any Grecian decided that they want to observe the stars. What else can I call off the top? What else do I know? Many things, man. You can do research on another time. You know, only want to highlight these things to those who might not be aware. In South America, where I am, there is a sort of religious offshoot called Santiera. It came off of neo-Christianity, whereas when the African persons who were here, whether they were brought here or existed here already, those who were made into slaves, who were enslaved, they decided that they're going to keep the Yoruba concept on their European names, and instead of the normal Yoruba names like Shango and Oshun and so on, which they do remember it, they would have hidden it under the cover of Europeanized religious names such as Saint John and Saint XYZ. I'm not completely familiar with the details of it, but I do know that it exists here, mostly in Brazil and Dominican Republic and a kind of place where there is Spanish. It's a Spanish, it's mostly a Spanish culture cover-up of old Yoruba, and there are it's still a big culture on this side, and there are persons who still practice it. Large amounts of persons still hold all of the festivals, burn all of the candles, go to all of the rivers and say all of the prayers and carry all of the blessings, and keep everything completely Irish. It's still here, it still exists, still being practiced, and it's not going anywhere. When I bring that to the surface, and we're looking at transcended culture and that kind of thing. Alright, I'm gonna click the stream here, so now not much really on my mind. I only start the phone and say, you know what, can upload a stream since my internet and everything. Pull up a picture and saw that, we have push and everybody. Oh, by the way, you see this map here, so this map, apparently it's upside down. Apparently, the way that our ancestors referenced the world, we reference it towards the south. We change energy came from the south, so we look towards the south for strength and energy. So all of these European maps are actually upside down, and if you really want to look at the world at a straight perspective, you would have to turn your map upside down and rename everything upside down in the other direction. So south is actually up, north is actually down, and the sun moves from east to west, which is in from left to right. Alright, that be it for now. If there's any audience listening to this or watching this. Thank you very much for comprehending what I'm saying, and you know, always leave feedback, appreciate it and everything. So, you know.